We realize the Tathagata's true meaning. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming out. So a little snippet from Secrets on Cultivating the Mind by Master Chinuls. Consequently, you should know that outside this mind there is no Buddhahood which can be attained. All the Buddhas of the past were merely persons who understood their minds. All sages and saints of the present are likewise merely persons who cultivated their minds. All future practitioners should rely on this Dharma as well. I hope you who cultivate the path will never search outside. The nature of the mind is unstained. It is originally whole and complete in itself. If you will only leave behind false conditioning, you will be such, like a Buddha. So, this clear communication from a good friend of ours from back in the 12th century Korea, who has something to say that's very personal and very intimate and very relevant to right now and right here. If there's one thing that I've seen is that over and over again we have a deep tendency to want to put our power outside of ourselves. We unknowingly and knowingly insist on victimizing ourselves constantly. We're always giving our power away. We're always giving our choices away. We're always giving everything away. And not the good kind of giving away. There's a beautiful kind of giving your life away. That's not, sadly, what I'm talking about. I'm talking about giving your power away. And one of the main ways that we do that is we keep this fantasy about what awakening must be or what Buddha must be as some kind of image that's outside. There's a little gold fella up here we're all giving incense to, and it seems to play into this kind of mistake. So I would like to share a little bit about what's actually going on when we look at this altar, when we actually make those bows together. As strange as and counterintuitive as it may seem, it's not an act of worship in the sense of a Judeo-Christian Abrahamic desert tradition model. It's not a slave supplicating to a deity figure. It's not bowing to gain Dharma points on some scorecard somewhere. Yeah, sorry. It's not like that. It's a practice. It's a practice that is actually deeply nourishing and deeply healing and deeply empowering, ironically enough. Deeply empowering. But that's what it is. It's a practice. It's something, the taste of which cannot really be described. It's rather like a sneeze. You know what a sneeze feels like? It's very hard to describe that to someone who's never sneezed before in any kind of adequate way, but when you sneeze, son, you'll know it. It's rather like that. There are other analogies one could draw, but that will suffice, So what is this feeling to really bow? To really bow, whole body and mind, to just bow. To just everything that you have, just be the act of bowing. Of course, it's an expression of gratitude. It's an expression of deep, deep gratitude and thanks. For what? Thanks for life itself, for existence itself, as it actually shows up, even with the stubbed toe and the arthritis. Even with that, it's actually saying, okay, thank you. It's embracing the whole thing, the whole catastrophe, all of it. Even the parts of it that some aspect of ourselves would like to push away. See, what we tend to do is we tend to look at ourselves and we tend to segregate ourselves into like the acceptable and the not acceptable, the yes and the no. And we try to cultivate the good stuff as we kind of commonly define it, all kind, all patient, all loving, all yada, 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 right? And then there's all the negative stuff. We think, well, this is really bad, that's all, you know, all these things. And we try to always be the good little person, you know. And then the kind of thinking is if we're really a nice person all the time, then we'll get a big karmic pat on the head and everything will be well, right? It's not quite like that, perhaps you've noticed. So it's kind of like the first thing that kind of cuts this off at the knees is just this idea of payoff. Just get rid of the idea of payoff. There is no payoff. The payoff is the thing itself. You see? I don't bow because I'm getting some kind of karmic reward in the next existence or something like that. I mean, maybe that would be nice. I don't know. But I do know that the act itself nourishes, empowers, it helps me realize who I am and where I am and who I'm with, right? And it gives me a basic body sense of being in the moment. And it's a powerful anchor. It's a very powerful anchor. This, we all come together and we chant these crazy things and we do these crazy things. We make this incense and we wear costumes and bibs. Right? But it's helpful. It's very helpful in this crazy way. That's just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. It's a big part of our psyche. It's a big part of our experiences as mammals with these kind of developed brains that we can learn this way, see? Our teacher says, you should know that outside this mind there is no Buddhahood which can be attained. How easy would it be if we could hold some kind of image of a perfected entity out there that all we had to do was be on the right side of somehow? And that, you know, lo and behold, there's a secret set of tricks. If you do these little things, then you're on the good side. Well, it doesn't really work like that. Real life is much more complicated than that. And in some ways, actually a lot simpler than that. Because then there's always this issue of, well, who really knows? Who are the guardians of the truth? Who are they that have the direct line, which of course you're not. You know, who are they that know, and how do we know which ones guard the correct version? Well, happily, thank goodness, in Zen, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You are the teachings yourself. Your own heart is the sutra. That breath you're breathing is the life of the universe. Come in and come out, come in and come out. What does it mean to really live from that? To really trust in that? To really die as that? That's Buddhahood. And it's spelled out plain as day. All Buddhas of the past were merely persons who understood their minds. And now when we say mind, I'm not just talking about like your logic or your cognition or your brain. Mind here is shin. It means heart, mind, hara, right? Heart, mind, hara. Right? It means the whole thing, all together. Mind, heart, hara. Everything. It's all mixed up. It's just the whole thing. My compassion, my heart, my feeling, my intellect, my cognition, my presence in the moment, my body. And the stuff that does not fit so neatly into a little three of something. The mystery which is you, which is a beautiful mystery. Why need to define this in some kind of wrap a bow around it, this is who it is. Live in the mystery, love the mystery. Embody the mystery fearlessly. There's a lot of talk in Zen about beginner's mind, the mind of not knowing. This is a very joyful, humorous, life-filled place. This is not just the I don't know of, oh, I don't know. That's a very different kind of place. This is leaning into your experience with curiosity and really not being afraid of any part of yourself. It's a much, much more interesting and real and juicy than some fairy tale that you have to bow down to. However, if you really want to do that, we do have a traditional way I brought out for you the Answer Me Buddha. Now, the Answer Me Buddha, in case you don't know, is it's an important relic in the Zen tradition. This one here has been blessed by the holy ones. And the way it works is you ask Buddha a question, you can rub his belly, and you flip it upside down, and it gives you the answer. So it's not as profane as the 8-ball. That's the evil cousin. This is the real Answer Me Buddha. So who has a question for Buddha? Come on, who has a question for Buddha? If you could ask the Buddha anything, what would you ask? It's interesting, isn't it? Will I make it into nirvana? No. Of course, Answer Me Buddha travels nowhere without Karate Elvis. Karate Elvis is a very important, it's the yin and yang thing, right? And so why am I doing this ridiculous stuff? Because that's what we do. We take our power and we put it in some... Yeah, it's Karate Elvis. That is the answer. Right? Well, Karate Elvis is fine. And little funny statues are cool, but it's not about looking for the answers in these crazy things. The answer is in your heart. It's in yourself. You already know. When it's time to laugh, go ahead and make a belly laugh. And when it's time to cry, don't be afraid of your tears. Those are the tears of the universe itself. Don't miss them. Don't miss them. They're your birthright. There's a crazy way that you can be free enough to actually enjoy the sorrow. That you can actually feel the suffering, not the suffering, but feel the pain of your life as the pain of the entire universe. And in some crazy kind of way, use that to open your heart as compassion. This is as far away from poor little me, why me, and won't Answer Me Buddha do something about it as you can get. Right? Of course, you can try. And the thing that's funny to me that I really don't understand is people try and it doesn't work and they keep doing it anyway. Why? Because of fear. Real, honest to goodness, in the marrow of the bones, fear. Well, what if Karate Elvis really is it? And what if I piss Karate Elvis off? I don't want this guy pissed at me. He's going to chop me. So I guess I'll just be nice. I guess I'll just do what that priest says I should do, because the priest has this direct line to Karate Elvis. So, see, it's kind of like that. But read the news. Read the news. Look around. The mentality of people who have access to vast arsenals of death. Don't think that's funny. They have their version of Karate Elvis, right? And that Karate Elvis is going to make everything right one day. And they're the servant of Karate Elvis. Uh-oh. I'm not so sure. So I think the time when enlightenment and awakening and freedom was like a personal thing is long gone. It's long gone. I think it's time for us all to not, to come out, so to speak. Come out of the little Buddha closet of awakening, and don't be afraid of the fact that you know you're a Buddha. Sure, there's work to do. Sure, there's koans to pass or there's sessions to do. We should do them. We will. It's fine. But you don't have to do anything to count. You already count in full measure. Just the fact of your being is all the validity you will ever need. In a real sense, you cannot mess it up. Even if you go for Karate Elvis. Even that too, okay. But given the choice, would you really do that? Really? I wouldn't. Consequently, you should know that outside this mind there is no Buddhahood which can be attained. It doesn't mean there's no Buddhahood. There is. It's just not outside of you. Outside the mind. Outside you. Outside of you. You are the truth. Maybe you're not convinced. Maybe you think there's some other person somewhere else who speaks in a funny accent with funnier robes than these. who holds the truth. So you travel vast distances. You go across from one side of this planet to the next, seeking that Holy One. And if they're at all worth their salt, when they see you, they're going to say, "Wow, you came a long way to meet yourself, didn't you?" I hope you enjoyed the trip. But you had it with you the whole time. Anybody who says, "Yeah, I hold the truth, you don't." Yeah, Karate Elvis too. Right? All Buddhas of the past were merely persons who understood their mind. That's what it means to be a Buddha, is you really understand your life. You are awake to yourself. You actually notice what you notice. You feel what you feel. When you're deluded, you enjoy the delusion of it. I like delusion a lot. It's very enjoyable. There's all kinds of rich texture and crazy situations and just mistakes galore. Who would want to miss that? All future practitioners should rely on this Dharma. And so we gather. We come together. We bow. We sit. We chant. We laugh. We cry together. But beyond all, what we're doing is witnessing each other. Vetting each other in as actual Buddhas. So it's so wonderful to be among your company. We seem to have a few moments. If anyone would like to ask a question of Karate Elvis or ask me, or just reactions to the talk today, I'd love to have some conversation with you. Anybody? Please.
I just, we've read this a couple of times now, we've started it long ago. But just reading that first paragraph was so great today because it was so Halloween-y, charred arms and marrow and all this and all that. It just really felt seasonally appropriate, and in a way that makes you laugh and you think, yeah, I guess that's what I'm doing all the rest of the year too, in one way or the other. Like the Karate Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, if I just punish myself enough, then I would have Karate Elvis's favor, because that would have proved my merit. Nope. So that's what those things are in that first paragraph. And it's very important to realize that your zazen is nothing like that. It's not an ascetic practice. It's ease and repose. It's peaceful dwelling. It's not anything other than that. Please?
I think it's really refreshing almost to hear that, because we live in a culture of so-and-so has the answer.
Yeah.
Seek so-and-so, they know. And I always found that kind of weird,
Good for you.
How do you know something that I don't? What magical powers do you have that I do not yield?
Yeah.
Kind of jealous, Would love to have magic powers.
Yeah, and the people who are on the other side of that dial, they know how to manipulate it.
Yeah.
They're very good at it. And it's not the same thing as being honest about the fact that there are actually people who have more experience than we may, and it is good to listen to them. That's a fact. Right? That's the other kind of half of this, is that this lineage is filled with people some of whom became useful to other people. You see? Now, it's not at all the same thing as someone who's got some divine connection you can never have. No, but now someone who can actually help me notice where I'm tricking myself or where I'm actually not able to see my own conditioning. Now that's somebody I bow to. And I have people I look to regularly to help me. And I'm so grateful that they're willing to endure my craziness. Because believe me, that's what it is. Right? But they're willing to endure me, to tolerate me, to be willing to spend time with me in such a way to be of use, to help me. So that's totally cool. And that's, in Zen, that's how we look at the ancestors. But there's lots of ancestors who weren't necessarily teachers. In fact, many of them are in some ways deeper. So So it's kind of an interesting paradox, isn't it? You know, we have great respect for the teachers and the elders in this tradition, but it's not in any way that there's something you're not. Thank you for that. Someone else, please? Yeah?
That's one of the unfortunate things about the changes that are going on in our society, is that we do not respect our elders and listen to them and the wisdom and the experience that they've had. And as a result, we miss out on honoring them and learning for ourselves from their experience.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's startlingly common for younger people that really have no idea what came before them. Really no idea. You know, I mean, despite best efforts, you know, there's a kind of learning that you get in the classroom where they talk about societies and cultures and stuff, and there's another thing when you actually grow up in a multi-generation scene where you can touch and feel what people who touch and felt those people actually are like. I always say that actually it's like I have a very dear friend, Gleason Sensei, who's my Aikido teacher, and when he was young, he was a hobo. He's, I don't know, he's 70-something now, but he was literally one of the guys with the stick and the red napkin with the guitar and all that on a train, right? And he went back and forth because his dad left the farm when he was like 7 or something, and as soon as he got something close to old enough, he heard his dad was in California, so he hopped a train to California to find his dad. Never did quite find him, but he learned to play the blues like you would not believe. He can sit there, and when he starts to play, it's that real old country Delta kind of sound that he makes, and I can't do that. There's no way. I mean, I can play notes and stuff like that, but I cannot bring forth the air that this person can because of the life that he's lived. And so to be able to just hear that and to feel that is to hear and feel something of a time that's no longer here, made here again. And so if you see, you know, Grandma is in the hospice and you go to visit and you know her real well, but every other person in that hospice has got their history and their story that's worth knowing, that's worth acknowledging, that's worth feeling. And so too in the Dharma, there are elders, and it has ironically little to do with chronological age. It has to do with age and practice. So here come the teachers. Let's see what they've all cooked up. Thank you, everybody. Lovely conversation today.